What is going on, guys? Today we are looking at Diop, 83 West Ham French centre-back. He is one of the UEL road to the knockouts and has the potential for a double upgrade if he follows the kind of requirements. So what you've basically got to do is there is 4 matches left in the Europa for the knockout stage. You've got to win 3 and then also you've got to basically make it. So there is 2 for grabs, 3 wins out of 4, and to make it into the knockouts. And he'd go up to an 85. I think I like this concept. I love the upgradable cards. It'd be nice to actually get a lot more of these. So it does look like they are going that sort of way with real football kind of being introduced into it. So that is absolutely fantastic. Some decent choices. I'm hoping they do give us another selection. I don't know if there's going to be a team 2 with how little players there is. I can imagine there will be, plus obviously SBCs up for grabs as we go through the weeks. We are using Diop today. We have got plenty to go through. I think we're going to be able to try and get all, I think there's 10 or 11 in the squad, plus obviously an SBC and also an objective. So we're going to, over the next 2 days, so today and tomorrow, try and get as many of them out as possible. Diop is the second one, as I believe Rodrigo was first, and to be honest, 6'4". We've got no traits, unfortunately. Acceleration is a little bit of a worry looking down the line then. So agility balance is on the lower side for a centre back. Passing wise is looking average. Then obviously we've got composure at 78. That will do enough. And defending and physical actually not that bad. So obviously at the moment the chemistry style to go for is the shadow. You'll end up with obviously 80 acceleration and 91 sprint speed, which is, again, is not awful. Does turn him into an 89 rated centre back with 91 defending as well. He is going to be an interesting one. We're going to jump straight into him, see what he's all about, and hopefully if they get a +1, I'm not going to bother with the upgraded review, but if they definitely get a +2, then I think most definitely we're going to have a look at them. I think +2 is much more worth it when it comes to upgradable cards. So let me know down below who else you'd like to see, and let's jump into Diop. Diop, watching Ben. He's going to go for that pass. He's going to switch it. No, he's not. He's going to pass it across. Oh, we've left him completely open. That is poor defending from my part. And obviously, it is kind of just trying to look at Diop more there, but you wouldn't necessarily drag him out of position that much in terms of kind of where you're actually defending. Cancelo is just absolutely fantastic in this. But Diop so far, okay, we can deal with that. Diop watching a bit of Mbappe there. You know, his Wijnaldum's going to come across and it's just going to be nothing. To be honest, it is kind of a bit harder when you've got an opponent that necessarily doesn't trouble your defenders too much, as you can't really get any clips. Diop going to ping the ball across. Again, long pass is not going to be necessarily his greatest tactic, but in terms of kind of when you need it, still there a little bit. Diop versus Nkunku. We're going to watch that Mbappe run. We know all day long he wants to go for it, and that is stunning. It's great defending, but unfortunately we do see him go past him. Just very unlucky there. He kind of passes it and has the perfect angle where Diop's just not going to be able to turn quick enough. So it is a good attack in general, but maybe a kind of a better defender might have actually turned to get that ball. Diop again watching. We're going to just kind of hold on. There it is. Strikes him like a champion. That is a fantastic save. I think the one thing that I'm really kind of enjoying with a lot of these cards, especially someone like Diop, is that it's not necessarily what he's now, but the chances of obviously going through, you really have to kind of look at the opponents they're going to go against and think, can they get free? Can they get obviously the knockout stage? Are they looking likely? Because we already know teams that are pretty much safe, so you're already kind of guaranteeing an upgrade, and that is massive for any sort of card. So if you can buy like a Diop for 30k, maybe you wait for him to kind of go down that little bit more, you're absolutely getting a bargain for potentially what, an 85 to 80, yeah, 84 to 85. Great block from him there as well. Diop watching here. Does feel a little bit slow on the dribble, which sometimes can be a problem. Martial just taking it away from him. Good blocking himself there. And you got to think as well, he is 30k. How good necessarily are you expecting somebody to be at 30k and 83 rated? That is just naturally what you've got to think. Talisca's going to go for that little chip over, and I think the defender's going to get there just in time. But I think for me, Diop is definitely one to potentially look at his lowest and then necessarily just stick in your club and just hope for the win. You want to keep your notifications obviously on for West Ham, just so whenever you see the Europa League, make sure that you've got that in and just keep a note of it. Don't necessarily kind of keep looking at his price, but as soon as the match is over, if they're winning, then you are taking almost a kind of draw. The worst he's going to do is probably go down to like, what, 15k or so, which is going to be kind of minimum anyway. So for me, I don't think it's that much of a risk. That's a great comeback as well there. But I think for me as well, like I say, he is one of them players that you could get an 85 and it'd be relatively decent. The acceleration is a little bit of a tricky one because that is considerably lower than his sprint speed, but even if we just got a +2, at least that's guaranteeing almost 2 on the upgrade there. So if I do go into Diop, then he's coming in at 35.5, 26.5 on the PlayStation, and 29.5 on obviously the PC. So again, not necessarily the greatest defender in the world. We already knew that to start with. We have got a lot of very, very good Prem centre-backs this year in terms of low ratings to high ratings. We look at Virgil, we look at Varane, 2 of the top tier Donnies. Then obviously we've got Romero in form, fantastic card coming in at 20k, absolute bargain. Then you've obviously got Rttk, you've then got Romero Gold, you then have Gomez, who is still obviously incredible, and then I'd say you've got Diop. I feel like Diop would probably come under something like Romero. I think it'd be kind of Rttk, Diop and Romero as kind of like the bottom of the best as such. I'm not counting any of these, but I'd probably go the lines of Varane, Virgil, then I'd be looking at Gomez, then it would probably be Diop, Romero and Rttk, and so forth, so on. Then you'd go Thiago Silva, Maguire, all of that. But I think in general, he's not a bad card. The only thing that he's going to have over the likes of Rttk and obviously Romero is he can be upgraded. I don't know personally where West Ham sit in the Europa, but if they need the 4 wins, if they need the 3 wins, then they're going to go for it. You don't want a team that is already safe-ish. They basically just need 1 match and they're pretty safe. You need a team that's kind of going for it and really kind of putting all into it, because then you know that the last match or the last match before where they don't need a win, they're not going to go for it as much, or at least it's going to be a B team or a slightly B team, so you've got less chance for the upgrade. They don't care about FIFA, why would they? But in terms of kind of this card now, a little bit lacking on the agility balance. I did think that was going to be a little bit more of an issue, as normally the kind of average is like 60 and above, and that's kind of like doable. Anything below is a little bit more of a worry. Everything else does kind of work around it. He has got very, very good strength. His tackling was very nice once you kind of got him on the ball. I think it was just his turning did feel a little bit clunky, and that unfortunately is not going to be massive kind of on the upgrade, even if he does get a +2, because realistically we're only looking what, a 60 agility and maybe even a 55 balance if we're looking very, very optimistically. But for me, I think he is a solid card for how cheap he is. Definitely, like I said before, the price won't necessarily reflect when it upgrades, because the hype will be around him. If they get a win, if they get 2 wins, the price is going to be through the roof, or at least heavily upgraded in terms of investment purposes. So you want to be selling that hype, because realistically, even if he gets to an 85, I still think he's going to be like top 4 Prem centre-backs at the moment, and that's even before these 4 matches have even happened yet. They're going to take a length of time to actually happen, and by then we could have a Rttk in form, a Virgil in form, a Varane, obviously one to watch upgrade, and he's become less and less irrelevant. And even if we went to France, to be honest, you've got Koyunde, you've obviously got Kimpembe, Varane, Lenglet, Upamecano, Umtiti flashback, Lacroix. You've got so many centre-backs this year that you've got to be very, very careful with where you upgrade, because there is just a lot of good positions out there that are covered by multiple cards. Overall wise for him, I'd give him a solid 6 out of 10 at the moment. I think as a kind of an estimate, if he did manage to get to the 85, I reckon it'd probably go up to like a 7.5, maybe even an 8, depending on how much they want to be generous with the upgrades. So hopefully you did enjoy the video. If you did, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe for more content, and I'll see you all for the next one. Peace.